Hi everyone, okay, this is video number 40 and it's on balance volume news breakout. Okay, so I wasn't in front of the charts when this happened, but I did have a look afterwards because it was interesting. So if we just look at the calendar, you can see the sterling here, the manufacturing PMI, that's the purchasing managers index, at 9:30 it came out as a good figure. And so what I've done is I've got two charts up here. This is just purely really for sort of demonstration purposes. So the red line's the sterling. Now we have got a little bit of a distorted figure here because if you can see it's set at 9:15 and the candle obviously is closed at 9:30, so these lines are a little bit distorted. So which ones do we look at? We're obviously looking at sterling. We need really one that's going in the opposite direction. I've had a look at all of them, but for demonstration purposes I've picked on the dollar, because if you look at this, we're on a 1 minute chart, sterling dollar. You see how it's obviously it was trending upwards, but you see how it consolidated just before the news, and this was a really good representation. And it just brought up a few interesting points as well, because if you set two orders, one above to buy and one below to go short, to sell, with City Index you can set an order which is one cancels the other. You would have probably not got your order filled because it actually gapped up, didn't it? Look, and so here's a consolidation area, and you can see I've put two horizontal lines on the OBV, and obviously we've got the break here as it went. Because I wasn't in front of the chart, I don't quite know how that candle formed. That's obviously a 1 minute candle. I do use sometimes pro real time, and you can obviously have a tick chart up on that. I know you can have tick charts on the MT4 platform, but I quite often use the pro real time and have a tick chart up on there. I haven't looked at that today, but it would have been interesting to see how quickly that once it gapped up, how quickly it shot up here, and how it fluctuated as well. So yeah, an interesting point there. We've got this lovely consolidation, but this unfortunate gap up, and of course if you didn't have an order in here to buy, if you actually clicked on buy, there would have probably been such a fluctuation in the price and volatility that you would have probably you would have bought in at most likely a very bad price, and the spread would have been probably quite wide as well. And of course if you'd put an order on, I use the spread betting charts, not the MT4 charts. If I'd put an order on a chart, clicked put a horizontal line in, it would have probably been too close to the price to be filled as well. So it does bring up all sorts of problems. Now after this you could have traded it again, so I'm just going to bring up the 15-minute chart here, because let's get rid of these two. Right, so we had this gap up here. Now if I just get rid of that line there, sorry, just bear with me. Right, here we go. This is what I was looking for. So we also had another potential trade here where the sterling's got very, very strong, and then it started to pull back. Now the euro at this point is really the one that's the weakest, that is turning. So if we bring up the sterling euro, the euro sterling chart, and we're on a 15-minute chart. So this is 10:15, so let's just put 10:15 in. Again, bear in mind that candle is 10:15 to 10:30. Just go down to a 5-minute chart. Here we go. Now there was a trade there. As to where you would get in is interesting, because what you've actually got, you've got that strong move here with the euro, and then it starts to turn, but you've got this sort of hesitation, haven't you? You've got this, if you like, consolidation. But it's not really consolidation, is it? It's just this real sort of hiccup forming. So I guess really, obviously we had this down move, and then it was almost like a pullback or retracement, and it started to go again, but it didn't have enough strength. So interestingly, at what point here do we decide actually this is changing direction? Because if we look at, if we say that the best probably entry was possibly on this candle here, so let's just put this on here. Bear in mind we're on a 5-minute chart. If we look at the indicators here, we've started to come up and we're blue. We've had red, blue, white, and then we're now into blue, but it's not a lot of volume, is it? The real volume is this one here, isn't it? So maybe was that our entry, but it was almost like a spinning doji, isn't it? There was a lot of indecision going on there, because look at the wick at the top and the bottom of that candle. Okay, and again, if we look at the unbalanced volume, look, we have this lower bit here, this rise just there, and of course it did sort of break around these candles sort of here, look, didn't it? And interestingly, if you look at the difference line, look how it turned here, look, and started to come up. That was right back here, but that could well have been obviously a pullback and then a continuation of the trend. But again, we need to look here at the sterling and the euro. But isn't it good how, you know, this is a very good way of looking at the whole of the market and finding a suitable pair to trade. I did go through all these others, the Swiss franc, and I think there was the New Zealand dollar there as well. But the one that I would have picked out of that lot was obviously, you know, was the euro there. So, and of course, it did pull nicely away. How long you would have stayed in this uptrend is obviously very debatable, because at this point here you've obviously got a very strong move, and then it obviously pulled away. So anyway, that's it for today. I just wanted to bring that one up because it was a very interesting point. Was that it was news, it was consolidation before news, it was the gap up, which was obviously probably a very difficult one to capture if you'd put a buy order in place there, and if you'd manually tried to click and get in, it would have probably been difficult as well. And then obviously afterwards the sterling got very strong and then it became weak. So some very interesting points there. Okay, thanks chaps, bye now.